Hello students, in this video I am going to explain to you about optical activity after giving a brief introduction about polarization. What is polarization? Polarization is an optical phenomena. In this phenomena, what happens is light radiations which are transverse in nature undergo restrictions in the vibrations. This transverse nature of light tells us about how light is propagated. Light is made up of electric field vector E and magnetic field vector M, which are mutually perpendicular to each other and they travel in a direction perpendicular to both. So in this diagram we can see that the electric field vector E is along x direction and magnetic field vector M is along y direction and the ray is traveling along x direction. So what is polarization? The light, which is a three-dimensional vibration, will be restricted in its vibrations. In other words, light will have a preferential orientation while it is being propagated. The polarized light can be produced by various methods. Unpolarized light can be passed through some of the materials and you can get polarized light out of those materials. These polarized lights can be plane polarized, circularly polarized and elliptically polarized. We can use nickel prism, retarding plates to produce polarized lights. If we want to have a plane polarized light, we can use nickel prism or we can use half wave plate, anything which is available. Now here we see the light vibrations are restricted to a plane. A plane which contains vibrations is known as plane of polarization. In all the other planes, the vibrations are restricted. Means you don't find any vibrations there. After knowing about polarization, there are many things that polarized light exhibits depending on the medium through which they travel. Now supposing an unpolarized light is considered and it is passed through a calcite crystal and we look at the emerging ray. Emerging ray will not be one ray but there are two rays. So this phenomena is known as double refraction. When we look at the two emerging rays, both of them are plane polarized and one ray which obeys the Snell's law is called ordinary ray or O ray. The other ray which does not obey Snell's law is called extraordinary ray. Ordinary ray will have vibrations perpendicular to the plane. Extraordinary ray has vibrations parallel to the plane. In a crystal-like calcite, the extraordinary ray travels faster and ordinary ray travels slower. Thus, we have written VE is greater than VO. Hence, it follows refractive index for these two vibrations in that medium of crystal will be like this. NE is lesser than N0. And if we consider quartz crystal, it is the other way. The E ray is slower than the O ray. Thus, the refractive index of extraordinary ray in this case will be greater than the refractive index of ordinary ray. Now, this is a picture which explains double refraction, also known as birefringence. Here we see the unpolarized light passing through the calcite crystal, and this is E ray having the vibrations parallel to the plane, and it doesn't obey the Snell's law. It just goes like that straight. But the other ray is ordinary ray, which obeys the Snell's law. Therefore, it bends like this, passing from the rarer medium to denser medium, then denser medium to rarer medium, and the vibrations are perpendicular to the plane. So, in this slide, as I have already told you, in a negative crystal, the extraordinary ray travels faster. The wavefront of the extraordinary ray is an ellipse. See, the ellipse is ahead of the ordinary ray, which is represented by a circle over here. In positive crystals such as quartz, it is the other way. See here, the extraordinary ray represented by this ellipse is slower, and the ordinary ray represented by the circle is faster. It is going ahead of extraordinary ray. Now, coming to optical activity. What is optical activity? Supposing we have plane polarized light, and let us say we pass it through some medium such as sugar solution. Now, the plane polarized light, as it enters the sugar solution, it will have the direction of propagation and a plane of propagation. But as it emerges out of the sugar solution, when we look at the emergent vibration, the plane of polarization is rotated with respect to the incident plane of vibration. So, this rotation can be right side or it can be towards the left side. The rotation, if it is towards the right side or clockwise direction of rotation, such a substance is said to be dextrorotatory. Example for dextrorotatory substance is sugar solution. If the rotation is anti-clockwise or towards the left, then the substance is known as levorotatory. Example for levorotatory substance is fructose solution. Here you see in this slide, this is an optically active crystal, and a plane polarized light is entering the medium, and see how gradually the orientation is changing. When it comes out, the orientation is different compared to the orientation in the beginning for the incident radiation. This is what happens in optically active crystal. So the same thing can be shown in the next slide also. Look, this now this is unpolarized light entering optically active crystal. Now this is the plane of polarized light, and in the tube the optically active substance like sugar solution is enclosed, and the emergent ray, the plane of polarization of the emergent ray is this. Okay, see, there is a twist, there is a rotation, and it is rotated through an angle theta. Okay, now why this happens? This explanation is given by a scientist by name Fresnel. So what did he say? In Fresnel's theory, we see the explanation for optical activity. He said when the plane polarized light is incident along the optic axis or incident normally on a crystal whose plane is cut perpendicular to the optic axis, what happens is the incident vibration is resolved, or it is split into two circularly moving component. One of the circular component moves anti-clockwise and other moves clockwise. It is represented as OL and OR in the figure which I will show. So now due to optical activity, what do you have? We have clockwise vibration and we have anti-clockwise vibrations after the plane polarized light enters the crystal. The clockwise vibrations, if they move faster than the anti-clockwise vibration, that substance is dextrorotatory. That's what happens in the dextrorotatory substance. For example, in a quartz crystal. But if the same plane polarized light is passed through calcite crystal, the plane polarized light, when it enters calcite crystal, of course it is going to split into clockwise component and anti-clockwise component. But here both the clockwise and anti-clockwise component travel with same velocity, and the resultant of these two is given by OK in the diagram. I will be showing you that. Okay, so this OK direction is same as the incident direction OA. So this is what is shown here. See, OA incident direction and clockwise vibration and anti-clockwise vibration represented by OR and OL respectively. So if the crystal is not optically active, what happens is both OR and OL travel with the same velocity and the resultant is OK, and this vector OK has the same orientation as OA. Therefore, there is no optical rotation. Whereas, if this plane polarized light enters an optically active substance, this is what happens. So in this direction, which is a OA direction, the plane polarized light is going to incident. See, as soon as it incidents, it is split into two vibrations, circular vibrations, OR and OL. In this case, the clockwise vibrations, the clockwise component is going to move faster than OL. See, both OR and OL is incidenting in this direction. But since OR is faster, see, it has come to this position compared to OL. So there is a phase difference delta between anti-clockwise vibration and clockwise vibration. So I have explained this. Now let us derive an expression for this, treating it analytically. See, here in this particular case, the incident vibration is represented by the equation y is equal to a cos omega t. This is the phase of the incident radiation. A is its amplitude. On entering the optically active crystal, it is going to get split into two components, component along clockwise direction, and this component along clockwise direction can be resolved into x-axis direction and y-axis direction. So x1, this is the resolved component along x direction, a by 2 sin omega t. This is the resolved component along y direction, a by 2 cos omega t. Similarly, the anti-clockwise direction component can be resolved into two directions, x direction and y direction, and they are represented like this. See, for the anti-clockwise direction, the x component will be along minus x axis, therefore a negative sign here. So these components are going to travel with different velocities just because the medium in which they are traveling is optically active. So VR is the velocity of clockwise vibrations and VL is the velocity of anti-clockwise vibration. Now what we have to do is that these vibrations will have a phase difference of delta between them. Okay. So in dextrorotatory substance, the clockwise components travels faster. Therefore, x1 is a by 2 sin omega t plus delta. Okay, it is faster. Next, y1 is a by 2 cos omega t plus delta. So delta is the phase difference between the two. Next, these resolved components will have a resultant. Along x direction, let the resultant be capital X. Let the resultant be capital X. So that is the sum of x1 and x2. Let the resultant along y axis be capital Y, that is equal to sum of y1 and y2. we know what is x1, x2 and y1, y2. Substitute them. See, after substituting, for example, consider this resultant along x-axis. We can use a trigonometric identity, which is sin A minus sin C, and then simplify it. Finally, we are going to get x to be equal to so much. A cos omega t plus delta by 2 into sin delta by 2. Similarly, for y, capital Y, which is the resultant along y-axis, substitute for y1 and y2 and simplify. This is the equation you get. So, this is equation 5 and equation 6. So, from these two equations, we can get the direction of the resultant. How do we do that? We divide x by y and we get that to be equal to tan delta by 2. So, this is the direction of the resultant vibration. So, having said this, we understand from this delta by 2 is the angle of the resultant with respect to the incident vibration. It means the plane of polarization has been rotated through an angle delta by 2. Now, we will write this expression for the angle of rotation, which is due to the optical activity, in terms of refractive indices. So, let NR be the refractive index for the clockwise vibrations, NL the refractive index for anti-clockwise vibration in the optically active medium. And I explained to you how a phase difference delta is introduced between the clockwise radiation, clockwise vibration and anti-clockwise vibration. So, delta is equal to 2 pi by lambda into path difference. Path difference can be written in terms of refractive index and the thickness of the medium. So, path difference is equal to NL minus NR into T. Now, remember, I am explaining a dextrorotatory medium. For dextrorotatory medium, it is NL by NL minus NR. So, NL in terms of velocities, we can write NL is equal to C by VL. VL is the velocity of vector OL, and NR is equal to C by VR. VR is the velocity of the vector OR. So, we know the relation between the phase difference and the path difference. Substitute and you get the equation like this. And as we have seen, delta by 2 is the angle of rotation. So, angle of rotation, what is rotated here? The plane of polarization is rotated. Angle of rotation of the plane of polarization, theta is equal to delta by 2, that is equal to pi into small t divided by lambda into NL minus NR for a dextrorotatory medium. Then we can substitute for NL and NR. After substituting, we have delta in terms of VL and VR. So taking C common, we have C by lambda is equal to nu. Nu is equal to 1 by T. T is the wave period. So delta by 2 is the angle that is required, which is called as theta. Therefore, angle of rotation theta is equal to pi into small t divided by capital T into 1 over VL minus 1 over VR. These two expressions give us the angle of rotation. So now we have derived the angle of rotation expression for an optically active medium. Here I have written the equations for dextrorotatory medium, and I also explained to you what happens when the medium is levorotatory. I hope this video is useful for you in preparing this topic. Thank you. In the upcoming videos, I will explain to you about polarimeter and Lorentz half shade device in the polarimeter, how it works. See you in the next video. Thank you.